Hey friends, it's Kirsten. Welcome back to the Confident Dancer YouTube channel. We're going to talk about worry today because I know a lot of dancers spend a lot of time doing it, whether it's about worrying that someone's going to judge you, worrying that you'll fall, make a mistake, make a fool out of yourself, worrying about the future and the uncertainty of it. We're going to just generally address some ways that you can start to interact with your tendency to worry so that you don't do it so much and it doesn't take over your life so much. So if that sounds good, keep watching. Okay, so number one is to realize that worry, like all sorts of unpleasant experiences that we have mentally and emotionally, it has a purpose. And so it's at least helpful to just take that one step to reframe it from, this is so bad that I'm worrying, how do I stop? So terrible, to okay, there's a reason or a way that my mind is trying to serve me by encouraging me to worry, or by this coming up in my mind. So the purpose of worry is our brains are really trying to help us look ahead to detect threats so that we can prepare a way that we will cope with that situation if it were to happen. In other words, it's trying to help us prepare. However, it is also really helpful to know that just because that's your mind's default mode to do that, it doesn't mean it's the most helpful way, or that just because the intention might be to help you doesn't mean it's actually helping you as best as it could. So the thing is, we tend to underestimate our ability to cope with a circumstance that we haven't planned for, or just difficult circumstances in general. We tend to really underestimate what we're capable of and how resilient we will be in the moment. So know that, okay? First, know that. The second thing is that when you really think about it and get to the bottom of what we're motivated by and why we're motivated to worry, it tends to be that we're trying to ultimately protect ourselves from experiencing a negative emotion, whether that be as a result of someone criticizing us, judging us, or we don't like our own performance. We're really often just trying to protect ourselves from experiencing a negative emotion as a result of an outcome that we don't want. So when you think of it that way, then this will really snap into picture or become a lot clearer, I hope, what I'm about to say. I love this quote from this movie. I always forget what the movie it is. It was like the prequel to a Harry Potter movie. Anyway, type in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. Something about like magical beasts or whatever. But okay, clearly the movie to me was not memorable, but what I did take away from it was this one quote: "To worry is to suffer twice." Let that sink in. All right, to worry is to suffer twice. What does that mean practically for us? By rehearsing a negative event or outcome potentially happening, we are making that event in our minds and nervous system real to us, which means that we're causing ourselves to experience a negative emotion anyway, to protect ourselves potentially from experiencing a negative emotion that might or might not come. When you think of it that way, do you really want to worry? Just a fair question. You end up suffering twice. So first, just recognize your mind is trying to help you. Second, recognize there's a better way, which we'll talk about. But third, also recognize that you are creating a circumstance where, or your mind is, where it's rehearsing something, but essentially reliving something or living something that hasn't happened yet to, in a backwards way, kind of maybe protect you from it, but it's not protecting you from it at all. You are quite capable of handling negative emotions, getting through them. You've done it many times in your life, so you don't need worry to serve you in that way. So by also recognizing the benefit that the worry is trying to accomplish, you can then ask yourself this question. Here's a way to start to deal with the worry. If this circumstance I'm worrying about were to happen, what would I do about it? How likely is it that if I were to do this thing to help, that I would actually be okay? Okay, and then ask yourself, how much energy and focus and time and emotional resources is it taking up for me to worry about this thing maybe happening that I could actually be using to help me accomplish the outcome that I do want? So in other words, I'm telling you to focus on what you do want, okay? You owe that to yourself. Give yourself as much time as you've spent worrying about that. Give yourself at least as much time, if not more, thinking about, what do I want? How will I get it? how can I help myself to get towards that outcome? I also just want to emphasize that the nature of worry can actually kind of become a self-fulfilling prophecy, as I'm sure you know, where the thing you're worrying about, you could focus on it so much and it can become so real, and you don't realize you're actually subconsciously rehearsing you behaving in a certain way and preparing for that situation. It actually can contribute to a self-fulfilling prophecy. For example, and I'm not saying this is true 100% of the time, but it just does tend to make you more likely to, for example, make a mistake. If you're so scared of making a mistake, you don't need me to tell you that the worry and the fear brings up tension in your body. It causes you to lose focus as you perform, and you tend to perform not quite as well, which usually means you make mistakes that you're scared of making, which then turns into this feedback loop of, I made the mistake, see, I was right, my worries are real, I do need to keep worrying. Hold on, stop. Realizing just that this might be a self-fulfilling prophecy situation is hopefully a powerful reframe for you to realize the power of your own mind, and that when you start to work with your mind instead of letting your mind run your life, it is so powerful what you can accomplish, how you can feel, all sorts of things, how your life will be so different. And that's really what I try to help dancers with as a high performance mindset coach. I want to help them make that transition from their mind running their life through worry, self-doubt, low self-esteem, performance anxiety, to understanding how they can start to reframe things in their own mind and put different mental practices and skills into place and shift belief systems so that they are in charge of their own mind, therefore the way they feel, they think, and their results. Now, obviously not 100% of the time, there are parts of life that we can't always control, but having that sense of autonomy, confidence, freedom, and just that peace with your own mind that I don't have to live in obedience to all the fears and thoughts that come up, it's very powerful. And if you want help with that, by the way, reach out. Link is in the description to learn how to work with me, learn about my coaching services, reach out, all that good stuff. It's down there. And again, I want to say the simple solution to avoiding a negative self-fulfilling prophecy is creating a positive one by focusing on what you do want, learning how to ground your nervous system to where you actually can access the state of calmness and peace, which I have different videos about, like how to 5 techniques to calm your nerves. I have a video about that. I'll link up here. And there are some other videos in which I talk about how to calm yourself, how to feel confident, how to prepare yourself for performance, things like that. But the essence is, do focus on what you actually do want, how you do want to feel, how you do want to dance. Just that one simple shift, and recognizing that when you experience worry, you could say, okay, what is that thing I'm afraid of? How likely is it that it would actually happen? How bad is it really? How likely is it that I can really handle it? What would I do if it were to happen? And okay, once you create that plan, good, that's the best you can do. Now spend that extra time focusing on what you want. The other very powerful tip I can give you is to reframe the purpose of the situation that you're experiencing worry around. For example, if you are going into a new summer intensive and you're really worried that you'll be the worst dancer there, you're so scared that you're going to embarrass yourself, one great thing that you can do is to notice, okay, well, am I there to impress people? Am I there to be the best? Is that really the number one purpose why I'm going? Examine the values that are hidden behind that concern. It's probably coming from your sense of ego, that you don't want to be embarrassed, that you want to appear great in other people's eyes, yada, yada, yada. And of course, there is a valid part to that desire where, you probably want to come off as a very good dancer. If you want to get to the next level, get into the year-round program, become a professional one day, that's totally understandable. However, you probably know that if you focus so much on people need to like me, I need to be the best, all the stress and pressure that creates actually ends up working against you. So one great thing that you can do is reframe the purpose of the situation. Ask yourself, why am I really choosing to go to this program? What am I really there to do? What am I there to gain, and what am I there to experience? And once you're really clear with yourself on what is the purpose you are there for, oftentimes the worry becomes somewhat irrelevant because, of course, for example, I'm a coach and I know all these things about how to prepare my mind for a performance, and you probably saw, if you watched the vlog I just posted about my performance experience, that I also got nervous sometimes, and I also don't desire to make a mistake on stage. I want to do a good job. However, it was extremely important for me to, in my mind, remove the power that I was giving to the mistakes. Like, it would be so bad. Like, it would be the worst thing ever. Because if you tell yourself in your mind that making a mistake is intolerable, it's so much easier to focus on the fear of the mistake. Meanwhile, we all know that little mistakes are going to happen. So one of the best things you can do is paradoxically reframe your mindset to where the mistake actually isn't such a big deal. There's some acceptance around that. And instead, you're focusing on the real core positive purpose for why you're doing that show, why you're going into the audition, why you're going to the summer intensive, things like that. And dancers, the last tip I'd love to share with you is an idea I just posted about on Instagram today when I'm filming this. I think it'll be last week when you're watching this now. But I had this shower thought a few weeks ago, and I'm sure someone in the world has thought of this before, but to me it was a new thought. I thought, really, uncertainty and possibility are the exact same thing. We just call the uncertain future uncertainty. We associate that word with it when we assume that in the realm of the unknown, negative outcomes exist and are more likely to happen. We call it possibility when we say positive outcomes are inside the realm of the unknown and they are likely to happen. It's all a matter of perspective. So oftentimes worry is associated with the fear of uncertainty. You're not sure if something is going to happen and you worry that something bad will happen. That's totally understandable. But if you just reframe this experience to, how many times have I not known what would happen and it actually worked out great? How many, or even just consider this reframe for a second. Everything that you want and you don't have yet exists in the realm of the unknown. So doesn't that mean that positive outcomes exist in the realm of the unknown? Therefore, we shouldn't have this terrifying relationship with what we don't know, because actually we know and are acknowledging through that idea that good things exist out there. Do bad things exist? Absolutely. However, again, you're more resilient than you think. Research shows that people underestimate their ability to cope with negative circumstances. And so just even acknowledging, I'm very likely to underestimate this, I can probably handle it, and then just reframing, instead of calling the future uncertain, call it full of possibility. Because that's actually what's really true. They're going to be, if you look for it, if you train your mind to look for the good out there, you will find it. That's how our minds work psychologically. I can get so nerdy into this. I'm not going to make this a 30-minute video, but I'd love to just go on a rant about selective blindness and how what you are not looking for, to a certain extent, your mind will blind you from that information and it will only feed you what you want, what fits into your current model of the world in your mind. Of course, there are new things that will come into our awareness, absolutely. But to a certain extent, we can literally become blind to what we are not looking for in our current environment. And so the beautiful thing is when you train your mind to look for what you want to see, i.e. possibility, great things may be happening, look for the good in the situation, it isn't just deluding or being delusional. I hear that concern from so many dancers. If I choose to be positive, doesn't that mean I'm just being delusional and I'm not being realistic? What does it mean to be realistic? Just focus on everything that's wrong? That's not the reality I want to live in personally. I don't know about you. It's just so funny to me how, especially in the ballet world, I'm totally going on a rant right now. Hope y'all are enjoying it. But we call negativity reality. Why? Why? Isn't there a realm in which we can look for the good and believe in the good, and also look at what we could use feedback on? Like, just call our shortcomings opportunities for growth. It's the same thing. It's just said a different way that causes you to feel differently about it, so it doesn't bog you down so much by thinking you're the worst dancer ever and everything is wrong with you. I see so many dancers in the 4 years I've been doing this work. I see chronically in the dance community, people underestimate and blind themselves to what they are capable of, what they're actually doing well, and we call it unrealistic or maybe being delusional if we choose to be positive and focus on those things. I think That's a bunch of baloney and we should stop it. So that's your friendly reminder, my little rant, my little pep talk at the end here to let's not call choosing to see the good, choosing to believe in the good and look for it. Let's not call that being delusional. Let's not call it being unrealistic because, okay, just go on the experiment. Experiment. Okay, tell me if I'm wrong. All right, tell me if I'm wrong, but really give it a try. If you start to look for the good and say, you know, what if this situation actually turned out great? Even if it doesn't go exactly how you want, if you're still looking for the good, you will find good things in that situation that you can use for your benefit going forward. So experiment, choose to look for the good. Tell me if you don't find more good. Tell me, just tell me. And if you don't find anything, I don't think you're looking hard enough personally, okay? So just try a little bit harder, all right? Just saying, I hope that pep talk was fun for you to listen to or beneficial. I had some fun just spewing some feelings there that I hope were very helpful to you on this Friday afternoon. I'm filming this. I'm about to end my work week and I got some energy for y'all. But yeah, I hope this video was really helpful. Yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know what tip really resonated with you. And I'd love to hear in the comments, what is something that you've been worrying about and what are you going to do about it instead? How are you going to think about the situation? Let me know. It'll be a good little exercise for you as well to really integrate this information. So thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you next week. All right, bye.